Mark says, I'm getting close with a girl on a dating app. My worry is we got too close. My worry is we get too close and I hurt them. How do I keep it light and enjoy the interaction? She has her own family, so it's daunting, but I want to see how it goes. I don't understand. What's wrong with the fact that you are getting friends with this girl and enjoying each other's conversation, communication, contacts, connection, and eventually you guys may decide to meet? You're afraid that you may go all over yourself and just go nuts by being too enthused and rush things. But why are you afraid to hurt her? How? Why would you hurt her? How could you hurt her? Just be a good friend and enjoy your conversation or your outing if you guys ever meet, and see if it's... You see, the problem is that boys become really overexcited when they go on a date with a girl because they don't understand that they have to see if she qualifies. They just think as long as she has said okay to them, then that's the right girl. This is how most of you guys choose your girlfriends. As long as she, a woman, says, yes, I agree to go out with you for that date, you think she's the right girl, because you don't go further than that to see, okay, that's good, but just because she represents certain kind of a pleasure to you, and you're programmed for that, seeking that pleasure for procreation, and you're all about that at any age, you forget about the other things that you should be expecting from that relationship, the qualifications. And on that basis, you become too enthused. Why? Because you think she's got everything you want. Because she said, yes, we'll go out. You stop there. But if you focus on the fact that there should be more stuff that you should check and see if she possesses, if she offers, as far as intelligent communication, bonding on consciousness level and so on, and harmony and compatibility and all that, then you would be normally excited, not overly. Then you wouldn't make a fool out of yourself. Then you wouldn't completely think that she's qualified. Then you wouldn't be trying to seal the deal by getting agreements from her that we're together and all that, which is overdoing it, and then she backs up. You have to understand that it's a two-way street. You have to be qualified in her mind, and she should be qualified in your mind. You can't just think, just because the girl agreed to go out with you, that's all you need. Then she's a woman, she's a female, she agreed to go out with you, then she's got everything that you want. That's when you will make the mistakes that later on you will regret, and you wonder why things didn't go well, because you chose wrong to begin with, because you weren't focusing on the things that you guys have or do not have in common. You were only focusing on the pleasure part. In fact, in most parts, you're already in love with the girl that you will be in love, but you haven't even seen her. Why? Because you're not usually, if you simply by seeing someone you think you're in love, then you can go further and be sure that you were in love with her before you even met her. Why? Because you're not in love with her. You're not even seeing her. You're in love with pleasure. You are only focused on pleasure, which is your whole life is based on, and in this case is the highest form of pleasure for you, which is being with a woman. Sex. And you're so focused on that that you don't even see her. You only see her as pleasure. And what's there not to like? So naturally you're in love before you even meet the girl that you will have a relationship with. And you later on wonder why it didn't work out, because you never got to know her. Her as she is, not the pleasure that she represents, or through her you can reach that level of highest pleasure experience that you're programmed to pursue. You end up with someone that after a while, pleasure, you can't live with pleasure. Pleasure is not communication. Pleasure is not bonding. Pleasure is what is that? Pleasure. But pleasure has no smarts, has no intelligence. to bond a relationship, to build something. And that's why most of these relationships fall apart, because you built it on pleasure, and you cannot build anything on pleasure. Pleasure is just a momentary thing, a feeling, a resonance, but there's no solid grounds to build anything on it. So all you ones who build a relationship around pleasure will fail, because pleasure will hold nothing. Pleasure is temporary, is a feeling, is an excitement, is something to pursue, and you try to replace pleasure for everything that is missing in your life. Your job, money, confidence. You think pleasure will replace all that, fix all that. So you always, in pursuit of pleasure, you think you can fix your shortcomings and things that are not right in your life. Instead of focusing on them to fix them and achieve them, you focus on pleasure to forget what it is missing through experience of pleasure. That's why things go wrong. And that starts from the fact that you don't even get to know her. You're only focusing on the fact that she presents pleasure, and that's good enough for you to want to be with her, rather than finding out who she is, if you guys are compatible, if you have something to offer, she has something to offer you. None of that is in the picture. Therefore, most relationships fail, because you're already in love before you even see her, meet her, know her. But you're in love with pleasure, not her. You're in love with every woman because you see them as pleasure, not as the person who you plan on getting to know, bond on conscious level, and build something. That's when the relationship starts shaping in both of you. So if both focus on the fact that the relationship cannot be built on pleasure, you cannot pursue pleasure thinking pleasure, it brings you smarts, wisdom, plans, and helps you to bring to fruition your plans and your goals, then you are on something. But if you constantly think that, oh, she's a female and I love female, so she must be the right one just because she said yes, she goes on a date with me, then that is when you become silly. You actually have a chance to lose that connection, because she will find you kind of overly excited. And usually people, when they see somebody's overly excited about them, they lose interest because they're not, acting normal. Plus the fact that you never get to know her to see if she really qualifies. And she really never gets to know you because you're smothering her with all this love, which comes from a place of pleasure, not place of appreciating who she is. You don't even know who she is. So be respectful to her. Get to know her. And see genuinely if you guys are compatible or not. If not, then part or be friends. That's it. But don't try to make it to be a girlfriend just because she's a female and you're programmed to pursue that. These are things that you have to focus on and be fair and respectful toward that relationship and toward that girl that you're dating. And don't think of her as a commodity, as a pleasure center, as something that makes you feel good. Treat her with respect. Get to know her. See if you guys are compatible, in harmony. Can you bond unconsciously? Do you have things in common? As two human beings, are you facing the same direction? Same goals, aspirations? Can you build something together? That's what helps the relationship go somewhere. All right, now let's move on to the next question we have.